Chapter 24 The Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Turks attack. The Byzantine Empire resisted Muslims and Mongols. It stood strong against Russians and a dozen other invaders. But when the Ottoman Turks attacked, the great city of Constantinople was finally forced to open its gates. At first, the Ottoman Turks were just a ragged band of nomads who wandered through the center of Asia, hunting for their food and fighting with their neighbors. When the Mongol armies began to sweep across Asia, the Turks fled to the west. They wandered through mountains and across deserts, looking for a new place to live. On their journeys, they attacked villages and stole food, but they also traded with Muslim merchants, heard the Quran read, and became Muslims. Soon these nomads settled down on the edge of the Byzantine Empire. They began to build houses and plant farms, gardens, and orchards. They got up with the sunrise and worked hard to grow crops in the hard, stony ground of their new home. Some Turks became shepherds and wandered with their sheep from pasture to pasture, looking for fresh grass and selling butter, cheese, and wool as they went. Other Turks traveled through their little kingdom, entertaining each village with stories, songs, and dancing bears who shuffled in time to music. One of the stories told by these traveling entertainers describes the rough, rocky ground of the land where the Muslim Turks now lived. This Turkish legend is called the Sheep Rocks. The Sheep Rocks. One hot, dry day in summer, a shepherd decided to take his flock to the cool slopes of the mountain above him. So he herded the sheep along the winding, dusty road, climbing up farther and farther. Sweat rolled down his face, and his throat grew drier and drier. Slowly, the air grew cooler. Finally, the shepherd halted at a green, breezy field high on the mountainside. The sheep put their heads down and started to tear up the juicy grass, and the shepherd threw himself down to rest. But he was so thirsty that he soon got up and started to search for water. He looked and looked, but there was no water, not even a single drop. "Allah!" the shepherd cried out, "send me water, and I promise that I'll sacrifice 7 of my best sheep to you. Only keep me from dying of this thirst." At once a clear fountain of water gushed out of the earth at his feet. He bent down and drank, and the sheep crowded around him and drank their fill as well. But once his thirst was quenched, the shepherd couldn't bring himself to fulfill his vow. He said to himself, "Well, instead of killing 7 of my sheep, I'll kill 7 of the insects that live in their wool. That's just as good a sacrifice." So he searched through the thick wool of the fattest sheep and found 7 lice. He lined them up and squashed each one and dropped them into the water. "Here is my sacrifice," he announced to Allah. At once the shepherd and all of his sheep turned into stone. When he didn't return home, the men of his village came out to search for him, but all they found was a green pasture filled with rocks and a stream bubbling quietly up from the ground. Not all of the Turks were farmers and shepherds, though. Many were fierce, disciplined warriors who were determined to make the Turkish kingdom larger. Devout Muslim families often raised their young men to become Ghazi, Muslim soldiers who were dedicated to conquering unbelievers and spreading Islam. These warriors set out to increase the size of the Ottoman Turk kingdom and spread Islam at the same time. The kingdom of the Turks became larger and larger. Under the leadership of their king, called the Sultan, the Ottoman Turks attacked the borders of the Byzantine Empire again and again. City after city fell to their armies. The Byzantine Empire shrank, while the empire of the Ottoman Turks grew. Soon only Constantinople was left to the Byzantine emperor. The people of Byzantium retreated behind its walls as the Turks attacked. But the 3 thick walls defeated the Turkish warriors. They could not get through. So they retreated, leaving the emperor in charge of his city. The people of Constantinople began to believe that their city could not be captured. "The city will only fall when the moon turns dark," they told each other. But the Turks had not retreated for good. They were making plans for a new assault on Constantinople's walls.